In the dim glow of a flickering street lamp on a quiet side street in Abuja, Nigeria's bustling capital, a young girl named Ada huddled in the shadows, her school uniform torn and her eyes wide with terror. Rain poured down like tears from the heavens, soaking her to the bone as she whispered a desperate prayer. Please, let someone save me from her, she murmured, clutching a crumpled note that held a secret too dark to speak aloud. Little did Ada know, this night would unravel a tale of wickedness, redemption, and unbreakable spirit that would echo through the city for years to come. Hey there, story lovers! Before we plunge into this epic folktale set in modern day Nigeria, hit that subscribe button right now to join our community of dreamers and tale spinners. And drop a comment below. Where are you watching from? Is it the sunny shores of California, the vibrant streets of London, or right here in the heart of Africa? Your voices make this journey even more magical. Now, let's dive into the drama. In the sprawling city of Abuja, where glass skyscrapers kissed the sky and traffic horns blared like angry spirits, there stood a modest public school named Unity Academy. It was a place where children from all walks of life came to learn, dream, and grow. But lurking within its walls was a woman whose heart had turned as cold as the Harmattan wind, Mrs. Ebele Okoro, the wicked teacher. Ebele was in her late 40s, with sharp features that could cut glass and eyes that pierced like daggers. She taught mathematics, but her real lesson was fear. Students whispered her name in hushed tones, calling her the viper behind her back. She ruled her classroom with an iron fist, doling out punishments for the slightest infraction. A wrong answer meant a slap, a late assignment earned hours of detention scrubbing floors, and any sign of rebellion? Well, that invited something far worse. Ada, a bright 12-year-old with curly hair and an infectious smile, was one of her students. Ada lived in a small apartment in Garki district with her widowed mother, Ngozi, who worked tirelessly as a market trader to afford Ada's education. Ada loved school, or at least she used to, until Mrs. Ebeli targeted her. It started innocently enough. Ada had corrected the teacher on a simple equation during class. Ma'am, isn't 2 plus 2 actually 4, not 5? Ada had asked politely. The class froze. Ebeli's face twisted into a mask of rage. Insolent child, she snarled, her voice echoing like thunder. She grabbed Ada by the ear and dragged her to the front, forcing her to stand for the entire lesson. That was just the beginning. From then on, Ebeli made Ada's life a nightmare. Extra homework that kept her up until dawn, public humiliations that brought tears to her eyes, and whispered threats that chilled her soul. Cross me again, and you'll regret it, Ebeli hissed one day, her breath hot against Ada's. But why was Ebele so wicked? Whispers in the staff room hinted at a tragic past. Years ago, she had been a promising educator, married to a kind man named Chike. They had a daughter, little Ifeoma, who was the light of their lives. But a car accident stole them both away, leaving Ebele shattered. Instead of healing, her grief festered into bitterness, turning her against the innocent children who reminded her of what she'd lost. She saw joy in their eyes and sought to extinguish it, believing the world owed her pain in return. As the rainy season drenched Abuja, Ada's spirit began to crack. One evening, after Ebele forced her to clean the entire classroom alone for disrespect, Ada ran home sobbing. Mama, I can't take it anymore, she cried, collapsing into Ngozi's arms. Ngozi, with calloused hands from years of haggling over yams and fabrics, held her tight. My child, we must be strong. Education is our letter out of this life. But if she's harming you, Ngozi's voice trailed off, her eyes hardening with resolve. Little did they know, fate was weaving a web. Across town in Wu's district, a new teacher was arriving. Mr. Kofi Mensah, a gentle soul from Ghana who had moved to Nigeria for a fresh start. Kofi was in his 30s with a warm smile, kind eyes, and a passion for teaching that could light up the darkest room. He believed in nurturing minds, not breaking them, and he was about to become the match that would ignite Ebele's downfall. That night, as Ada prayed under the street lamp, a figure emerged from the rain. Kofi, on his way to his new apartment. He saw the girl and stopped. "Little one, are you all right?" he asked softly. Ada looked up, her tears mixing with the rain, and for the first time in months felt a spark of hope. The next morning, the sun broke through the clouds over Abuja, casting a golden hue on the red earth roads. Unity Academy buzzed with the usual chaos. Children laughing in the playground, vendors selling akara fritters outside the gates, and teachers rushing to their classes. But beneath the surface, tension simmered like a pot about to boil. Ebele arrived early, as always, her starched blouse impeccable and her expression stern. She had a ritual, reviewing her punishment list, a secret notebook where she noted every student's misdeed. Ada's name filled pages, talked back, slow learner, needs discipline. Ebele smirked, remembering the girl's tear-streaked face from the day before. "She'll learn," she muttered to herself. Meanwhile, Kofi entered the school for his first day, carrying a box of books and a guitar slung over his shoulder. He was assigned to teach English and literature, but his real gift was storytelling. Back in Ghana, he had been known for weaving folk tales that taught morals through adventure and emotion. "Stories heal the soul," he often said. The principal, Mr. Adebayo, a portly man with a booming laugh, welcomed him warmly. "We need fresh energy here, Kofi. Some of our staff, well, let's just say they could use a reminder of why we teach." Kofi's first class was with the older students, but during break he wandered the halls and overheard whispers. "Mrs. Ebele made Chidi kneel on gravel yesterday," one boy said. "She's a witch." Another giggled nervously. Kofi frowned, his heart aching. He remembered his own childhood teacher who had inspired him with kindness, not fear. Ada, still shaken from the previous night, sat in Ebele's math class, her hands trembling as she held her pencil. Ebele paced like a predator. "Today we solve equations. Fail and you'll stay after school." She called on Ada first. "Girl, what's the square root of 144? Ada knew it, 12, but fear choked her. 11? She stammered. Ebele's laugh was cruel. "Wrong. Stand in the corner, fool." The class tittered uneasily, but no one dared speak up. As Ada stood humiliated, the door creaked open. Kofi peeked in, looking for the staff room. Their eyes met, his kind, hers pleading. In that moment, something shifted. After class, Kofi sought out Ebele in the staff lounge. "Hello, colleague," he said cheerfully. "I'm Kofi Mensah, new here." Ebele eyed him suspiciously. "What do you want?" she snapped. "Just to introduce myself. I heard you're a math whiz." Flattery usually worked, but Ebele saw through it. "Mind your business, newcomer. These kids need discipline, not coddling." As days passed, Kofi's classes became a haven. He told stories of Anansi, the spider from West African folklore, adapting them to modern Abuja, Anansi outsmarting corrupt officials or helping street kids. Students flocked to him, including Ada, who sneaked peeks during her breaks. One afternoon, she confided in him. "Sir, Mrs. Ebele hates me. She hurts us." Kofi's face darkened. "Tell me everything, child." Ada poured out her heart. The slaps, the threats, the endless punishments. Kofi listened, his emotions churning like a storm. He knew he had to act, but carefully. Ebele had allies in the school board. Whispers said she bribed them to ignore complaints. But Kofi had a plan. Expose her through truth, not confrontation. That evening, Ngozi visited the school after Ada came home with a bruise on her arm from Ebele's ruler. "This ends now," Ngozi declared, marching to the principal. But Mr. Adebayo sighed. "Mrs. Ebele is influential. We need evidence." Ngozi left frustrated, but fate intervened. She bumped into Kofi outside. "You're the new teacher?" she asked. "Yes, and I believe your daughter. Let's fight this together." As night fell on Abuja, with its neon lights flickering like fireflies, the stage was set for a battle of wills. Ebele, sensing a threat, began plotting. That Ghanaian fool won't last, she vowed. Weeks turned into months, and Abuja's dry season brought dust storms that mirrored the turmoil at Unity Academy. Ebele's wickedness escalated. She targeted not just Ada, but anyone who showed sympathy. Chidi, a quiet boy with glasses, was forced to write, "I am stupid," 100 times for helping Ada with homework. Nkechi, Ada's best friend, was sent home for gossiping after defending her. Kofi, however, built alliances. He started an after-school club called Story Circle, where students shared tales and learned empathy. It was a hit. Kids from all classes joined, including those terrified of Ebele. Through stories, they opened up about her abuses. "She locked me in the storeroom once," one girl confessed, tears streaming. Kofi documented everything discreetly, his notebook filling with heartbreaking accounts. One dramatic day, during assembly, Ebele exploded. A student had drawn a caricature of her as a snake on the blackboard. "Who did this?" she roared, her voice echoing across the yard. No one confessed, but she pointed at Ada. You're the ringleader." She grabbed a cane, raising it high. The crowd gasped as she swung, but Kofi stepped in, catching her arm. "Stop this madness," he shouted. The school fell silent. Ebele's eyes blazed with fury. "How dare you? I'll have you fired." Kofi stood tall. "Harm one more child, and the world will know your true face." The principal intervened, sending them both to his office. There, Ebele spun lees. "He's inciting rebellion." But Kofi remained calm. "Check the records. Ask the children." That night, Ebele sits in her small house in Maitama, surrounded by photos of her lost family. Grief twisted into paranoia. "They all plot against me," she whispered, clutching Ifeoma's old doll. Emotional flashbacks haunted her. Happy days with Chike, Ifeoma's laughter. But instead of softening, it fueled her rage. She decided to strike back, frame Kofi for theft. Meanwhile, Ada and Ngozi bonded over dinner of jollof rice. "Mama, Mr. Kofi is like a hero from the stories," Ada said, her eyes shining. Ngozi nodded, emotional. "Yes, but heroes need help. We'll gather parents." The storm was brewing, dramatic and unrelenting as Abuja's nights grew cooler. As the Harmattan winds howled through Abuja's streets, carrying whispers of change, the conflict at Unity Academy reached a boiling point. Ebele's plan unfolded. She planted money from the school fund in Kofi's desk, then discovered it during a surprise inspection. "Thief," she accused, her voice dripping with full shock. The principal, shocked, suspended Kofi pending investigation. Students erupted in protest. "It's a lie," Ada cried in the yard, rallying her friends. Chidi and Nkechi joined, chanting, "Justice for Mr. Kofi." Parents, alerted by Ngozi, stormed the school. "Our children deserve better," Ngozi shouted, her voice breaking with emotion. Kofi, devastated but determined, met with the group at a local tea shop. "We have evidence, statements, bruises. We'll go to the education board." The scene was entertaining, yet heart-wrenching, with kids sharing funny imitations of Ebele to lighten the mood, only to sob moments later. In a twist, a former student of Ebele's, now an adult named Tunde, came forward. "She did the same to me years ago. I have proof." Tunde had kept diaries, adding realism to their case. Hey, amazing readers! If you're gripped by this tale of courage against cruelty, pause right here and smash that like button, subscribe for more emotional stories, and share with a friend who needs inspiration. Your support keeps these tales alive. Let's hit 10,000 subs. Now, back to the drama. Ebele, alone in her home, faced her reflection. For the first time, doubt crept in. "What have I become?" she whispered, tears falling. But pride won, and she doubled down. The board hearing was set. A dramatic showdown loomed. The Education Board office in Abuja was a sterile building with air-conditioned rooms that did little to cool the heated emotions inside. On the day of the hearing, a crowd gathered, parents, students, even local media drawn by the buzz. Ebele sat primly, her lawyer by her side, spinning tales of her dedicated service. These accusations are baseless, she claimed, her voice steady but eyes betraying fear. Kofi presented the evidence, dozens of signed statements, photos of bruises, Ada's tearful testimony. This isn't teaching, it's torment, he said passionately. Ada spoke next, her voice trembling. She made me feel worthless, but Mr. Coffee showed me I'm strong. The room was silent, emotional waves crashing. Ngozi added, as a mother, I beg you, protect our children. Tunde's diary sealed it, revealing patterns over years. Ebele cracked under cross examination. They deserved it. The world is cruel. I'm preparing them, she burst out, revealing her broken heart. The board ruled, Ebele suspended, investigation ongoing. Outside, cheers erupted. Kofi hugged Ada. You were brave. But Ebele, exiting alone, felt the weight of her actions for the first time. With Ebele gone, Unity Academy breathed easier. Kofi took over her class, turning math into fun games. Students flourished. Ada aced tests. Chidi found confidence. Nkechi wrote poems. But Ebele didn't vanish. She wandered Abuja's markets, haunted by memories. One day she saw Ngozi selling goods. You ruined me, Ebele accused bitterly. Ngozi, compassionate, replied, no, you ruined yourself, but it's not too late to change. Ebele visited her family's grave, sobbing. Forgive me, she whispered. A spark of redemption ignited. She volunteered at an orphanage, teaching gently for the first time. Meanwhile, Kofi and Ngozi grew close, their friendship blooming into romance amid entertaining school events like talent shows. Yet, whispers hinted Ebeli wasn't done. Old allies plotted her return. Ebeli's suspension didn't sit well with corrupt board members she'd bribed. They schemed to reinstate her, framing Kofi again. We'll say he forged a statement, one said. Ada overheard a phone call at school and warned Kofi. They're coming for you. Dramatic chases ensued, Kofi evading spies in Abuja's traffic. With help from Tunde, now a journalist, they exposed the corruption in a local newspaper. Headlines bled, Wicked Teacher's Web unravels. Ebele, reading it, felt betrayal. My own kind turn on me? Emotional, she confronted her allies, only to be shunned. Kofi proposed to Ngozi under a baobab tree, Ada beaming as flower girl. The scandal exploded. Police arrested the board members, Ebele called as witness. In court, she faced Ada. I'm sorry, Ebele said, tears flowing. A realistic moment of vulnerability. The judge sentenced the corrupt, but spared Ebele with community service. Redeem yourself, he said. At school, Kofi organized a forgiveness assembly. Students shared stories, emotional healing began. Ebele started therapy, unpacking her grief. She apologized to Ada personally. You were my match. I needed to see my weakness. Ada forgave, hugging her. We all deserve second chances. Abuja blossomed in the rainy season again. Unity Academy thrived under Kofi's leadership, now principal. Ebele returned as an aide, teaching art with gentleness. Kids called her Auntie Ebele, her smile genuine. Ada, now 13, wrote a folktale book inspired by the events selling at markets. Kofi and Ngozi married in a vibrant ceremony, dancing to Afrobeats. But a new threat loomed, a rival school spreading rumors. The rival, Elite Prep, jealous of Unity's success, hired Ebele's old ally to sabotage. They spread lies online, calling Kofi fraud. Kofi rallied the community. Truth will prevail. Dramatic debates ensued at town halls. Ada led a student campaign, creating videos that went viral. Ebele stood by them. I was wrong once. I won't let it happen again. The rival backed down, exposed. Friendships deepened. Chidi became a math whiz under Ebele's new guidance. Nkechi and Ada started a club for bullied kids. Kofi and Ngozi welcomed a baby boy, naming him Chike after Ebele's lost husband, emotional tribute. Ebele found love with a kind widower, healing fully. Abuja's streets echoed with their story, a modern folk tale. A national education crisis hit, funding cuts, Unity faced closure, Kofi organized fundraisers, Ebele's donated savings. Students performed plays of their tale. In a dramatic finale, the minister visited, moved by Ada's speech. This school saved souls. Funding restored, school saved. Years later, Ada became a teacher, inspiring generations. Abel, retired, wrote memoirs of redemption. Kofi and Ngozi grew old together, their family thriving. In Abuja, the tale lived on. The wicked teacher met her match in kindness, proving even the darkest heart can find light. And they all lived not happily ever after, but realistically, growing, learning, loving.